Hello folks, welcome to OTD, also known as On The Deck, where you can get all the sports you need in 10 minutes. My name is Adam Orduna. This is my mom, Gina.
He is the journalist.
She's the enthusiast.
I'm a sports enthusiast, but I'm also a news enthusiast, and this is a lot of news and sports together, so I'm going to let you go ahead and take it.
Correct, yes. We are doing a special OTD breaking news today for the parole hearing of Orenthal James Simpson, also known as, or better known as, O.J. Simpson. This is a very interesting case that took place. This was his parole hearing. We're just going to give you the facts to get everything lined up here so that we can kind of better just talk it through and kind of hear our own thoughts of what took place today. Again, this was the parole hearing for O.J. Simpson on the cases that took place with his memorabilia in Las Vegas from 2008. Or 2009 rather. Malcolm Laverne was his attorney that represented him today. He had his sister and his daughter Arnell and his sister Shirley also testified for him, and then the person that was really involved, the victim within all the memorabilia stuff that took place, Bruce Fromog, was the victim, and he also testified today as well. And so he had 3 people testify, including himself. And then there were 4 members for the parole board that were in attendance as well. There's 7 total, but there were 4 in the room today as well. And he had to basically get a clean sweep for this parole to actually take place. And he was 4 for 4 with all of the people that were on the boards. We're going to list off their names as well. We have the chairwoman, Connie Bisbee. Then we had Tony Corda, I believe, and then Susan Jackson, and then ironically Adam Andel, who was actually wearing a Chiefs tie, which was a little bit interesting, but that has nothing to do with the case that went forward from there. But those are the 4 people that were part of the parole panel, if you will, that made the decision today to grant the parole for O.J. Simpson. Now, this was, again, about memorabilia that took place in Las Vegas around 2008-2009 time frame, and he felt like people stole from him some very important pieces of his history that belonged to him, and he took action to get those things back. Therefore, he was charged with those actions, but it went a little bit further from some of the things that took place back in the 90s with the obvious murder charges that took place then back in the mid-90s. Okay, so now that we have listed off those actual facts that took place today, let's get into this a little bit about how we're feeling and what really is going on right now up to this point.
Well, you're 100% right. Apparently he was in Nevada at that time for a wedding, and someone said, hey, there's a person here trying to sell your stuff, and it's stuff that's personal items. Right. OJ, the person that he went to get his stuff back was apparently a friend.
Sure.
And that friend, like you said, Bruce Fromog, testified on OJ's behalf today. Well, here's what I'm going to say, Adam. We said it a little bit earlier on one of your earlier shows. Yes. There's a difference between justice and fairness. I think for a lot of people, I'm going to speak just for myself. Sure. I believe O.J. Simpson committed double murder. Right. He was either there, he either did it, or he was complicit in it. Right. And unfortunately, the case that was presented, he was not convicted. As a matter of fact, not only was he not convicted, he was found innocent. He was acquitted of those charges. People believe that he was guilty. I have evolved on that. I now also believe that he was guilty. But what happened was then when he gets in trouble in 2008, 2009 over trying to rightfully get his own stuff back, he got a maximum sentence, something that normally people get 6 months to a year, 2 years, plus probation over. He got 9 to 33 year sentence. Right. So basically he was convicted for murder in a memorabilia trial. Sure. And he served 9 years of and by the way, his attorneys, he's gone through several, they went back on appeal after appeal after appeal, and those judges are elected. Sure. There wasn't a single judge in the world who's elected, who had to face election, who was going to say, I'm the one that let OJ go. The panel, the board, parole board, is appointed by the Nevada governor. Yeah. So they don't have to be reelected, and all they went by was the facts on their sheets. Were you a model prisoner? Yeah. Have you followed the rules? And are you eligible at this point to go on parole? Do we think you're a threat? he answered, he checked all those boxes, and so the answer is he's now free.
Right.
So to me, justice was not served in the beginning in the interest of the double murder,
Sure.
but fairness was served today. He got 9 years for something people would normally get 6 months for.
You might get a year maximum when you're talking about what he actually did, what took place in Las Vegas. The thing that really, you know, kind of throws me for a loop is the fact that Bruce Fomog, the guy that actually was the victim of all of this, testified in trying to kind of help OJ in this situation.
100%.
You know, to me, I feel like, you know, someone that's the actual victim would want nothing to do with it at this point in time. But we were kind of discussing it earlier. You know, apparently they're friends. They've made amends, and I think they're on a good plane now, which is kind of why he went forward with it. But again, this all took place because well, it is hot out here.
It's hot out here where it's not our normal time.
This took place of this crime was committed because of stolen memorabilia from OJ in his personal stuff. He had stuff in a storage garage that got taken. People were selling it, and he felt like he had an opportunity to get it back. Now, how he handled that was not very professional in any means.
Well, some of it was personal stuff. Some of it, he was told people had pictures of his first wife and his children.
There were a lot of things.
And that sort of thing. Pictures of his mother who passed away, and everybody knows they were very close.
Yes.
People took his personal stuff, and he went there to get it back.
Exactly.
Now, apparently he had 12 counts. It was of armed robbery and kidnapping and all kind of things. Because he went in there with other people, shut the door, and said, "No one's leaving this MF till I get my stuff."
Therefore, there's the kidnapping.
There's the kidnapping. Two of the guys one of the guy had a gun. The other guy struck the guy.
Yeah.
By all accounts.
Yes, exactly.
Bruce said that OJ didn't do anything but scream and holler, but it was enough that he got the maximum.
And then on top of that, there was, you know, voice recording within the hotel room, which is where all this was a, you know, everywhere in Las Vegas is like a casino / hotel resort.
Right.
So there was recording inside of one of the guys that was in there had recording. There were cameras of OJ and his group of people that were getting ready to go in and handle this
situation.
Looking
thug and mug up there.
I mean, so there was
rolling deep.
Plenty of evidence for him in this situation to be put behind bars. Now, again, Joe Schmo that does this type of act is not going to be
9 to 33 years in prison
or whatever for for 33 years in prison, regardless of what they thought was theirs or not. But because of the high-profile case and person that he is, people thought that this wasn't about him and his memorabilia. This had to deal with what took place back in the mid-90s. And so it's one of those situations where if we're going by the letter of the law, we have to stick to the line and stick to the book. If you're acquitted of something, you're
innocent.
Regardless of what your initial thoughts are or not, that's what the judge or at least the jury came up with. And so therefore you can't hold on to that. You know, you can have your own personal feelings, but if another crime is committed that has nothing to do with the previous crime that or whatever took place that you were charged with, you have to be charged on the recent case.
Well, and that's the thing. Justice is supposed to be blind. One thing the parole board said when they were reading it was having no prior convictions. People can think, as I do, that he murdered those people, but he wasn't convicted of it. So he had no prior convictions. So the original judge in the case about his merchandise or whatever, she was clearly thinking in her mind, this is a murder in front of me and I'm giving him the maximum.
Correct.
And I know that's elite. People can say, you can't say what she was thinking. I can say what she's thinking. Anybody else would have got 6 months or a year probation, parole. This man got 9 to 33 years.
Think about who the person was.
Exactly.
I mean,
so at this point, I guess the question is, do we think OJ at 70?
Sure.
Because remember, when Nicole Brown and Ron Goldman were murdered, OJ was my age. He was 47. I'm 46, 47, 48. He's now 70. He's older than my mother now.
Yes.
I think you're a different person when you're in your mid to late 40s than you are when you're 70.
Right.
Do you really think he's going to now take this parole with lots of restrictions and live a quiet life, or do you think you'll hear more OJ?
Well, and that's a really good question, and I do think that OJ is going to be himself, meaning his personality is still going to be, a very charismatic person. I have a big personality, people want to gravitate towards me. I think that's still in him very much so. So I think as far as him being that type of person, I think that's going to be the same. As far as what he was doing down in Miami, after all the California
in
stuff,
1996 and 97,
and in the early 2000s, where he was in the clubs at age whatever he was, and all of that type of thing, I don't think that's going to take place. I think this is the last chance for him to live somewhat of a normal life, and I think he will stick to the plan, which is I'm with my family, I'm checking in with the parole officers and things like that. I can only have limited access to certain areas. I don't think he's going to be out there being crazy. Still yet to be seen. What do you think? What are your thoughts on
I
that?
agree with you, actually. And I heard his daughter plea. They talked about all the birthdays he's missed and the life. I think at 70, this man, first of all, I'm going to give advice to his daughter. You keep people away from your daddy.
Correct.
Don't let any of these flim-flam artists and easy money makers come around him.
Yes.
You guys lock down. Don't let people come around him. And OJ, for the love of everything good and holy, sit at home. Just don't even go volunteer. I would have told you go volunteer the boys. Don't do anything. Stay in the house. Be with your children and your grandchildren. I do want to say this real quick, Adam.
Yeah.
The Goldman family and the family of Nicole Brown Simpson will always be in my heart. I feel for them today. I'm heartbroken for Ron Goldman. I think about you when I think about his son, just an innocent person who took some glasses to a woman's house.
Right.
And we can't forget that in all this, because the Goldmans are out there and people are heartbroken. But as it relates to OJ at this point in time in his life, go fade into the sunset, OJ.
Right.
Your justice was served. And here's the last thing I'm going to say. I do think by the parole board saying if you're a model inmate and you do the right things, you can get parole. Maybe it's an example to other people. He was a leader in those inmates in prison. Maybe you've got some jackholes in there who've never been taught anything, and they see, look, OJ got out. He did the right things. Help our COs out. Go and be a model prisoner, because this might be an example to other people that you can get parole if you do the right things and rehabilitate yourself.
I think that's well said. I think it has a lot to be said for the prison system in America. It doesn't matter which level that you're in. The prison system is nowhere you want to be.
No.
And if you do what you're supposed to do, be an upstanding model prisoner, and you take care of your business, and you have an opportunity to get out and go into the world as a different, changed person, you should be able to
take advantage of that
in that respect. So hopefully everything works out in as far as him being low key and not doing too much. We will see what happens.
And I know we're out of time, but I have one more question for you.
Yeah.
People are saying he might do a podcast or do a blog or whatever. How do you feel about that? Obviously, social media and online is your medium. What do you think of that?
Yeah, as we do wrap up here, I don't think that's a good idea. I think he needs to be as low profile as possible. I think he needs to just, like you said, walk out into the sunlight with no distractions.
Be with your grandbabies, man.
There's nothing you need to be doing outside of being at home and your family and the occasional walk to the park.
I agree.
Again, we'll see. We'll see. Everything is very fresh. There's still going to be new details as the parole continues to unfold, and what the full details will be. We're going to keep you updated on all this. This is a special breaking news OTD episode because this is such a huge topic.
Huge sports
topic. And this is all fresh and new to us. So we'll give you more updates as soon as we know, and we'll keep you posted, folks. Thanks for joining us.